Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. It's Steve here, and yes, I'm in my kitchen again doing another reaction video because more news is broken circa around 8:30, 9 p.m. at night, and I'm in my house as we always are. But I did ask on Twitter if this is worth doing a video for, and at least more than 5 people asked and said yes, or answered and said yes, so I presumed that's everyone's feelings on this one. Yeah, it isn't really a transfer story, not as such on that one. But yeah, listen, it's 9 o'clock. I'm in my house, and I thought we need to react to the Alexander Isak statement that he's put out on his social media feed. I'm sure you've seen it by now, and if you haven't, literally just go anywhere and just Google it. You'll find it. It's absolutely fine. Yeah, broken finger. I'm you're wondering what's going on there. Yeah, long story. Anyway, Alex Isak then has taken to Instagram. I will read it word by word if you haven't seen it. Obviously, it relates to him being in the PFA Team of the Year, and then furthermore, in terms of interest from Liverpool, his interest to leave Newcastle, which he has now confirmed. He wrote rather, "I'm proud to be recognised by my fellow professionals with a place in the PFA Premier League Team of the Season for 24-25. First and foremost, I want to thank my teammates and everyone at Newcastle United who has supported me along the way. I am not at the ceremony tonight. With everything going on, I didn't feel right to be there. I've kept quiet for a long time while others have spoken. That silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. The reality is that promises were made and the club has known my position for a long time. To now act as if these issues are only emerging is misleading. When promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship can't continue. That's where things are for me right now, and why change is in the best interests of everyone, not just myself." Signed off by Alexander Isak. So any stories that have been emerging recently about like various events or whatever, Alexander Isak is obviously disputing those. He's making it clear he told Newcastle a long time ago his feelings. Obviously he's disappointed at certain promises, whatever that is, whether that be contract or ability to leave the club. I don't know exactly what he's referring to. We're broken, and at the end, like I say, that's where things are for me right now, and why change is in the best interests of everyone, not just myself. Now, I don't know if that is officially handing in a transfer request. Can you do that via Instagram stories? I don't know, but it's clear now. Yeah, Alexander Isak. I mean, there's been some sort of speculation. Well, is it his agent who's pushing this? And listen, his agent's probably had some part to say in this statement as well. But like, it's clear now. It's obvious he wants to leave. He's annoyed at Newcastle. He wants to go. Interestingly, the music around this deal, I'd say over the last few days, has been more along the lines of stories coming out saying that he's going to stay at Newcastle perhaps because they can't find replacements. They keep being linked with players, and those players ultimately keep going other places. There's more names being linked, of course, recently. Strand Larsen from Wolves and Gonzalo Ramos from PSG and etc. Obviously Nicholas Jackson from Chelsea, Johan Visa from Brentford, who's in a bit of a standoff about his own future as well. So it has been a bit messy. I understand it from Newcastle's point of view that they are more than entitled to keep their player, but when he comes out with a statement like that now, that is tough to sell. I know the fans at Villa Park, again, the Newcastle supporters, they're more than entitled to give their opinion on what they felt, and they were being pretty savage, I suppose, in their criticism of Alexander Isak. But there was all this talk of building bridges, mending relationships, whatever. This is just another, I don't know if it's another step, but it's another way to that of making that almost untenable now, really. It feels really unlikely that he can go back there. Now, are they willing to sell without getting their replacements in? I don't know. Is he willing to play for them? If they don't, we don't know all that either. But this is the first time, because there's been a lot of talk about Alexander Isak, and yeah, what's he really thinking? Why is he not saying not? And why is this all, it's all being leaked to the press, or it's people filling in blanks? I know the Newcastle supporters have been having a go at David Ornstein, for Richie Romano for their report, and as if, I know, like they're getting paid off or something. I've seen report, which is just nonsense. But a lot of us, well, why isn't Alexander Isak speaking? Why is he keeping his mouth shut? Well, technically, this is the first stage of him doing something. It feels like there's a bit of a playbook here that he's trying to play. Asked to leave, probably get told no. Okay, well, I'm not going on tour. Well, I'm not training. Well, I'm not playing in games. I'm going to make it clear. Now I'm going out with a public statement. It just feels like he's taking off boxes of everything he can to get his move. And by all accounts, we all know that move is potentially to Liverpool Football Club. That is reportedly the only team who he wants to join. Obviously, the team who can afford him, who are interested in signing him. So yeah, it's fascinating. It's just the next step in this whole situation. Obviously, Liverpool, 5 current Liverpool players in that PFA team of the year. Obviously, Milos Kerkez was voted in for his performances for Bournemouth, but obviously Virgil van Dijk, Alexis McAllister, Ryan Gravenberch and Mohamed Salah also included. And of course now, it could be 6 if Alexander Isak signs in a couple of weeks' time. It's interesting because, like I say, we're all, I don't want to speak for everybody. I'm sure most Liverpool supporters would like Liverpool to sign Alexander Isak. Maybe there's been I don't know, a shift in narrative or whatever. There's been a lot of talk recently about, how his behaviour is and how he's acting, and again, criticism of him, criticism of his agents. A lot of pundits have been doing that. We don't know what Alexander Isak has been promised by Newcastle. We don't know what the conversations were. The report, and I saw David Dunstey's report and saying that these conversations happened towards the end of the season. Alexander Isak, post the Everton game, last game of the season, before he flew home to Sweden, had these conversations. Obviously, we're not privy to what was said behind those closed doors, like Alexander Isak says himself. So he is getting a lot of blame because he is under contract and he's refusing to play. And I get it. People say, we don't know what he's been promised. I think that's worth talking about. If Newcastle said, we're going to do X, Y, and Z for you, and then they haven't, you've got every right to be angry, you've got every right to be upset, and whether you agree or don't agree with how he's handling that upsetness, for lack of a better phrase, is his anger, his sadness, or whatever at Newcastle, he's doing it in his way. And I think that, again, you should try and get 2 sides to every story, and until we know, and we might never know, what he was promised by Newcastle, what those conversations were, that's when you can make a judgment, I think, on how he's acted. Like I say, he's doing what he thinks is in his best interest. And if you, like he said, if there's no trust between him and whoever, whether that be the manager, I don't know, whether it be above Eddie Howe and the Newcastle board, the ownership, we don't know who exactly this relationship that he's talking about breaking down, which of those relationships it is rather. But he clearly feels that he can't play for that football team anymore. It does throw another spanner in the works. Does it make it more likely that he's sold? I don't know. Let me know in the comment section if you're watching this, if you're listening. Again, social media is there to get in touch with us. I'll be interested to know your thoughts on where the dynamic shifts now. But we've all seen footballers, hold out, try and put force moves, and then when they haven't gone through, they've gone back to play. Luis Suarez, similar, although his was a bit different in that he changed his mind, or Steven Gerrard helped him change his mind. Philip Coutinho came back and then was sold. Virgil van Dijk did something similar at Southampton. So it isn't as if to say, like, if he doesn't leave, Newcastle can never pick him, but it feels very toxic. And I wonder where Alexander Isak's head would be if that happens. But yeah, he's gone public now with his statement. It is the next major story, the major headline in this ongoing saga, which has been rumbling on for quite a few weeks now. So what Liverpool do, what Newcastle do, we'll find out. It just feels like Liverpool are waiting for the nod. Does this statement put more pressure on Newcastle? Is this the straw that breaks the camel's back and lets them go, you know what, even if we don't get a replacement, we can't have this, we don't want this? I don't know. I honestly don't know, Will, because what I do know is waiting for Newcastle to try and sign strikers, it might be easier for me for waiting for me to grow a mullet. I'm not sure which of those things are more likely. Both are very unlikely at this stage. They can't seem to sign a striker for love nor money. And if I could grow a mullet, guys, I probably would have tried by now. In fact, I already have. It didn't go too well. I ended up looking, it wasn't great. I mean, it grew in tiny little parts. It's fine. I digress. But yeah, that is the latest then. Alexander Isak comes out, public statement now. This is the next step. He's spoken. He's had his say. We wait how Newcastle respond. Is that the door opening for Liverpool to push in and maybe go again? Is this a way where Newcastle's stance goes again, softens? Does that count as an official transfer request? I don't know. It's all very much up in the air. But what I do know is that this isn't the last of this story. There are a couple of weeks left. Obviously, the window closes on September 1st, 7 p.m. There's a long way to go in this one. I wonder what Alex Isak's next plans are if Newcastle continue to dig the heels in. I don't know. Does he turn up with and start fighting with Eddie Howe? Does he go public with an interview a la Raheem Sterling all those years ago when he wants to leave Liverpool? I don't know, but But yeah, for the avoidance of doubt, anyone who's been trying to paint this any other way, it's clearly obvious now. That fella does not want to play for that football team. He wants to join Liverpool. Will the deal get done? I was starting to lose hope. I was starting to feel less optimistic about it. I was even considering Liverpool maybe going elsewhere. This statement kind of changed my mind. I'm very fickle like that. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think of the whole situation? Does it get done? Does it not get done? Yeah, again, comment section, social media, all that good stuff. But yeah, for now, thank you everyone again for joining me in my kitchen. If anything else wants to break at some point 9 to 5, I'm all here for it. But if it doesn't, I'll continue to kick my family out of the kitchen, make them all go and be quiet in another room, and do more videos for you guys, because yeah, that's what it seems like is the plan of action this summer. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. See you all soon.